Jeff Hardy almost knocked out in that Double or Nothing match. We've got the real reason Samoa Joe has been written off of TV, and a top name has finished with Impact Wrestling, and that's going to be very interesting indeed, so stay tuned. So, the Young Bucks taking on the Hardy Boys at Double or Nothing this weekend, and it was pretty all over the place, I think it's fair to say, and a lot of people speculating that Jeff wasn't especially well either going into the match or that he was rocked in the match or something like that. We've got some more details on this from Matt Hardy. So cast your minds back. Early on in the match, Hardys go for poetry in motion. They get caught with a kick from the apron. And the kick, I think, was well executed enough. There's nothing wrong there. But Jeff, it looked like he took a pretty dodgy tumble to the floor. Like the fall wasn't especially great. Jeff then seemingly out of it for the majority, if not the entirety of the match, and we'll get to that in a second. When he gets picked up on the outside and thrown back in, it's pretty sort of dead weighty. He's there and he's struggling to move about. He's in there for another minute or so before he gets the hot tag to Matt, where he's able to recover a little bit. But we've got more information on this from Matt on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast. He said, I was pretty happy with the match, especially considering very early on in the match, Jeff was almost knocked out. So he got hurt pretty bad. That's why he's being pulled from the match in Los Angeles, obviously. So he was kind of running on fumes going through the match. He still held up his end of the bargain pretty good in the big scheme of things. Apparently he's got no recollection of the match. He continues saying, we've got a couple of ideas when the injury might have been sustained. I would suggest it's that poetry in motion spot. And that seems to be the general consensus. And Matt said he has no recollection. He doesn't remember the match at all after that happened. So the match did pick up. It was a pretty rough first 5 minutes or so, and Jeff was a bit all over the place during it, but I guess that's the reason why it worries me with Jeff Hardy, right? Because he's come to AEW and he's doing some of these bonkers spots. He's jumping off of like massive structures, all that sort of on Dynamite.
And
he's in his 40s.
That's the thing, and I don't want to use the word old because it's not really, 40's not old in wrestling anymore. But when it's talent that have taken risks and are known for taking risks, it's always scary anyway. And it's, as the risks are accrued over the years and all of the bumps and everything, you do worry, don't you? And you kind of like, maybe just not this week, just don't. But as long as he's okay, that's the thing. He was able to, obviously get back into it enough for the match to continue and everything. But it's the memory loss is quite worrying, and I'm sure it's something AEW will be taking very seriously, and
I'm sure he's going through the concussion protocol and all that sort of stuff. I just feel like Jeff Hardy has nothing left to prove anymore. We've seen so many years of Jeff Hardy doing mental stuff. Leave it to Darby Allin, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, we had that with Sting. Sting's taking a few more risks here and there, but largely it's just key moments, right? And it's being done quite well to kind of, it doesn't need to be 5 big things or whatever. It's Sting, it's quite, Sting's doing it. But with Jeff, I think you could minimize the amount that we're seeing of that stuff for sure, because as you said, he doesn't have anything to prove. We all know what Jeff Hardy can do. And we all know Jeff Hardy's like the absolute boy.
He's been doing these high spots, these very dangerous spots that are going to have a serious impact on his body for 25-ish years now. Longer, in fact, if you count as pre-WWE stuff. So I just think they need to be really, really careful with Jeff moving forward. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully we see him again very soon, not jumping off of very high structures.
I reckon we'll get more characterized Hardys coming in eventually.
I think that's the most sensible thing to do.
It'll be sort of lesser.
Do the broken stuff, because they changed their movesets to protect them, and probably that prolonged their careers by a few years doing that. There's no reason they can't do that. I understand why they would want to have this nostalgia run, and it feels weird calling it a nostalgia run.
It'll be nostalgia for Broken next, won't it?
Yeah, there you go. Next up, we've got the potential reason that Samoa Joe was written off of AEW television. It's a film thing. This is a bit of a surprise. According to a new exclusive Deadline report, Joe is set to act in a major new role with some well-known Hollywood names. According to the report, Joe will be playing the dual role of Sweet Tooth in Peacock's Twisted Metal series, with the police describing his character. Sweet Tooth is a hilarious and terrifying Hulk of a man who is as emotional as he is cunning. I love it. Right, we don't need that, right? So taught me that I remember Twisted Metal game on the PlayStation 1, I think it was.
Yeah, Twisted Metal is if you are out there and you have no idea what we're talking about, it's a car combat game, which they were quite popular in the 90s. Imagine, I don't know, Fortnite, but you're in a car and you just drive around a big map and it's last man standing, basically.
That's just Fortnite.
Well,
Fortnite's
yeah,
got
but
cars.
No, but I mean, you can't get out of the car. You're stuck in the car.
It's Crush Hour.
And,
right?
Yeah, it's essentially Crush Hour. But Sweet Tooth is one of the leading characters of the series. Is
Imagine
on all the covers.
Spyro the Dragon,
like,
but you're not a dragon.
you're Tiger Woods, and it's PGA Tour 08. But Sweet Tooth's like this killer clown with like a flaming head.
He was on the front cover,
Yeah,
wasn't he?
like Joe.
I remember.
Joe is. I never in a million years, but I thought even connected Joe with that role. But it's such a good lineup. Like,
Yeah, is that gonna work?
Yeah, I think that's going to be great. I was kind of on the fence because it's how do you make a series about car combat interesting, because there's not really a lot of lore there. They can probably play a lot with the
Transformers
story.
did it right. They're cars.
Yeah, but
and
I
boats
think
and stuff.
Joe is somebody who can obviously show that emotion and bring the two sides of the character to life. So I'm really, really excited now. I'm going to actually physically watch the series now and everything.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're excited. No, I think like Joe is one of the best promo people in the game.
Yeah.
I can imagine him doing really well in film.
Yeah.
Top of my head, I don't think he's done anything before, has he?
He's done. Was he in Wrestlers vs Zombies? I think he might have been in a couple of those ones.
Was he?
Yeah.
What with Nash? Was
With
Nash in that
Kurt
one?
Angle, and I think it was a bunch of TNA people.
Right.
From the
Okay.
time, yeah.
Maybe. So yeah, good luck to him. Hope he's doing all right. And I'm sure he'll nail it.
I want his Cena run in Hollywood. Let's do it.
Next up, bit of a rumour-killer on a Forbidden Door match that was floating about yesterday. Meltzer screwed up here, essentially. So he said that he had seen some sort of internal document stating that Hangman Page versus Kazuchika Okada was tabbed for Forbidden Door based on this lineup that he'd seen. But they've then come out, the Observer on Twitter, saying, per Dave Meltzer, his Wrestling Observer radio note last night that Page versus Okada was tabbed for Forbidden Door based on a lineup he had seen was incorrect. That match is not planned for the pay-per-view as the lineup is being kept a secret. I'm not sure I believe the correction here.
Yeah.
I think Dave has let the cat out of the bag.
And it's been a Dave cover it up.
Yeah, he's had an angry DM off Tony. I don't know. No, that's speculation.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if we see that match happen. I would rather see Danielson Okada personally.
Yes. Yeah, I'd very much like to see. I mean, I would love more than anything Danielson Shibata. Give it whatever rules you want. I'd like to see those two go like proper catch as catch can style. Just. The old world of sports style stuff, locks, and because Shibata's not really been doing. I mean, he had the pro wrestling rules match, but he's obviously got to protect his neck and head. So we've had his other outing was UWFI rules. So even if it's that, I would love to see.
I remember that. Was that the Zack Sabre Jr. one?
Yeah, or if you throw Zack in there, you could have 3 technicians going. Oh my god!
What about that funky weapon lad? What's his name?
Taguchi.
Yeah, throw Taguchi in there.
Taguchi's pretty good.
I like Taguchi. You can tell that I watch New Japan, can't you? I like him. Or Show.
He uses his bum as a weapon.
Show good?
Show's good. Show and Yo have fallen out.
No.
Show has gone bad. Yo is the valiant babyface fighting to just prove himself.
What about Toru Yano?
Oh, he's just still flogging DVDs and trying to take the corner pads off. He's great.
Yeah, fair play. Well, there you go. There's our dream matches for Forbidden Door. So we'll see how that turns out. It wouldn't surprise me if we get that match. Still,
I think it's going to be.
I don't know what's happened there. There's something there, isn't there? Next up, really exciting news. Not so much for Impact executives, but W. Morrissey has finished up with Impact Wrestling. Mike Johnson of PW Insider breaking the news. W. Morrissey has departed from Impact Wrestling. He's set to team with PCO on the June 2nd episode of Impact Wrestling, so we've seen that, to take on Moose and Steve Macklin. But that's going to be his final appearance for the company. That match was taped all the way back May the 13th. So there are a few options here.
Yeah.
I reckon that he's got probably interest from both AEW and WWE.
There was apparently interest floating
hasn't he?
around. Well, this is I'm just really. It's so nice, and I'm really happy to
Great
see
story.
like his
Story.
turnaround
It's
and like
real.
If you look at the images of him, after leaving WWE to now, you can see he's very clearly a much happier man, in incredible shape. Like WWE were probably going to be throwing money toward him, but I think AEW are going to want him as well. And I think I don't know if he even needs Enzo anymore, but that might be something we see eventually again. But
there's no way.
I think this is his time to really try and break out on his own.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, he certainly doesn't need Enzo. If it was WWE, I don't think there's any chance that they'd take Enzo back. No,
not at all.
Stuff that's happening, him disrupting the show. Remember when he was like front row?
Well, how's he going to get in the building if he's banned?
True.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't need Enzo. It's just a brilliant, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
I really, really am, because he was in such a rough place. And seeing him not only in Impact doing great stuff, in popping up on AEW was brilliant. I can see multiple promotions throwing lots of money at him. I don't think he would have been leaving like that if he didn't have a plan. So good luck to the lad.
He's a giant guy, great shape. He's going to do well.
Yeah, he's going to do fantastic. I really, really hope that in 18 months' time, we're all celebrating Big Cass doing something really special, because I think he's got it in him. Good luck to him. Finally, we're finishing with some really sad news, unfortunately. Melanie Pillman has passed away. Brian Pillman Jr., writing on social media, yesterday at approximately 1 p.m, my mother, Melanie Pillman, was pronounced dead. Those of you who know our family story understand that I didn't have the best relationship with my mother, though my sister and I recently had been in touch with her, working to improve that relationship. Her death, while unexpected, was not surprising. Her lifestyle choices that dominated the better part of the last 25 years of her life had ultimately caught up with her. She was as intelligent as she was beautiful, and her dark sense of humor could make even the biggest prude burst out in laughter. Although I had built up resentment towards her, I was very proud of her for taking part in the Dark Side of the Ring documentary and sharing the truth about our family story. That was the beginning of us mending our relationship. Continues, I do have regrets. I regret not giving her the time of day when she was trying so hard to be in our lives again. I regret not texting her back, even though I had the time to. I regret not trying harder to break her of her habits and help her get the help that she needed. I regret being upset with her simply because she wanted to see her son. She actually looked really healthy and sober. That was the last time I saw her. Thank you, Mum, for bringing me into this world and for trying your best. You were my #1 fan. Rest in peace. I love you. Really, really touching words. There's, a lot of people have been paying their respects to the late Melanie Pillman on social media. Very, very sad story indeed, and we send all of our love to Brian Pillman Jr., the Pillman family. That's it from us. Thank you very much for watching. Much appreciated. Again, we will be live at 3 p.m. With a WWE 2K22 playthrough of the entire Hell in a Cell card.
Is this finally the year where there's not a single Hell in a Cell match on the Hell in a Cell card?
No, you got the one at the moment. Just the one. I like it. It's the one that deserves to be in there.
It is, but I kind of felt like we were getting to a point where it'd be Hell in a Cell with no Cell matches at one day.
gone the opposite way.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be there 3 p.m. See you in a bit. Thank you very much.
Bye.
What was that? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.